All right, here we go. Now, again, we will kind of go through the second worksheet. I kind of asked you to do, I think, a certain number of these problems. So let's see how you did. Again, a big part of the SAT and the ACT is dealing with the circle. All right? And again, there's probably going to be 10 questions on your test, just like the SAT questions. All right? So I want to make sure we specifically go over those to make sure you're in good shape. But now let's talk up here real quick, just to see if you remember what we did on Friday. All right? So the answer to number 1 is just what?
0, 0.
No. Come on, someone. All I'd like you to do, honestly, is just because you're just saying things and you don't know, is look back at your notes. Flip back to the beginning of the page. Then look at what the explanation is, and then someone tell me what the answer is. Amelia, let's listen to you.
X squared plus y squared.
Beautiful. Right? Now, yeah, you got to think about it. All right? Tell him how you got 81, because he's looking a little lost. The radius is half the diameter. That's not that hard to do. All right? Now, for number 2. Maya, why don't you help me out for number 2? Perfect. Thank you very much. That was good. All right, Aspen, what do we have to do on number 3? Yes, we do have to find the radius, but let's write the equation with what we have so far.
Okay, so x plus 1 squared plus y minus
equals r squared. That's what you're supposed to write down.
Oh, really? No, that's actually.
No. It doesn't. I know you are. I'm not. Don't worry about it. Okay, now, Aspen, do you remember what to do next? Okay, so look right here. Anytime you don't know something, there must be a reason why they gave you 9-3. What do we do? Yeah, plug 9-3 in for x and y, and that'll tell you what r squared is. All right, so when you plug 9 in for x, you get what? 100. Plus, when you plug 3 in, you get 25. All right, so r squared is what? 125. So since you're writing the equation, please look. All you have to do is erase the r squared and put what in? It doesn't say, tell me what r is. It's not asking what r is. It's asking what the equation is. All right? Now, if I ask you what r is, you would just say it's the square root of 125. All right? But right now, all they're doing is asking for the equation. Anybody have any concerns with that? All right, let's check out number 4 now. All right, so let me give you a minute. All right, everybody write the equation and figure out what r squared is. And if you know how to do that, then you're in pretty good shape. Walker, you think you got it?
7.
Somebody else help him, please. Go.
10.
I don't know what you're talking about. Tell us.
X plus 3 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 37.
I don't know what y'all are doing. I have no idea what y'all are doing. But I'm not saying that's correct unless I can have a couple people verify. All right. Now, what?
Oh, that's
Anybody?
6
Shh.
I got 82 somehow. Oh wait, 36, not 30. Okay, I see.
All right, yeah. Find your mistakes. All
I
right.
cannot add.
All right, so there's number 4. Okay. Now, number 5. All right. for each circle, we want to find the center and the radius, then we want to graph. So number 5 should be relatively easy. That's just what? X squared plus y squared equals 4. So the center is 0, 0, and the radius is, be careful, the radius is 2.
Oh, because
Yeah, you don't have to tell me. R squared equals 4. R squared equals 4. So R equals 2. All right, now that I have R equals 2, now you're going to try to graph it. Remember, graph the center, which is 0, 0. Then you're just going up and down, left and right, 2. And then you're trying to draw the circle. All right? Not a big deal at all. All right? Now, the one that's important is question number 6. The one that's important is question number 6 because this is the one where you have to complete the square. All right? This is the one where you have to complete the square. So remember, the first step is to separate the x's and the y's. So when you separate the x's and the y's, it's going to be x squared plus 6x, leave a space, plus y squared minus 6y, leave a space, equals -9. Now, how do you complete the square? What was the little, what do we have to do? Do you remember? Yes, it's b over 2 squared. All right, b over 2 squared. So the first one, you're adding what? You're adding 9. All right, so don't forget, if you put a plus 9 here, you have to put a plus 9 over here. And then the same thing on the other side, you have to put a what? Plus 9, plus 9. All right? Did we add 9 to the left?
Oh, yeah.
All right? Now you have to factor. And I told you, when you factor, it always factors into whatever the half was. All right? So when you factor, this becomes x plus 3 squared plus, and then what? Y minus 3 squared equals what? Equals 9. Katie, do you not have your iPad? So do your parents know? Can you call them real quick? How are we going to fix this problem? You're not. And I also have my iPad over there. You can use my iPad to pull up your information. Lots of ways. I don't want you sitting there. Or I think my iPad's over there is getting charged. All right, does anybody have any questions with that? So now everybody has to write that the center is what? -3, 3, and the radius is what? 3. All right, so now -3, 3. And now you're just moving, once you do the center, you just move left and right 3, up and down 3. Anybody have any questions with that? Pretty easy, right? All right, I agree. Hopefully you feel good about that. All right. I'm not a real fan of 7 and 8, but we're just going to go ahead and do 7. All right, then we'll probably skip 8. All right, then 9 and 10 are very important. All right, so here we go. Plot the points. -2, 2. 2, -2, and 6. All right. So now it's kind of clear to see right here is the center. Do you agree with that? Right, only because, right, we can recognize that from here to here is 3 units. From here to here is 3. And then from here to here is, I'm sorry, 4 units, not 3. From there to there is 4. All right, does everybody see that? Okay, so now somebody tell me what the center is. So the center is 2, 2, and the radius is what? 4. So my equation is equals 16. Right? It's very easy. Very, very easy.
Why do we make the well, why does that matter if you make like x minus 2? Why can't we just make it x plus 2? It's gonna be the same.
Because you don't know what the formula is. What is the formula? That's why I said go back to the very beginning if you don't remember. That's the formula. Right? Come on, you have to know that. That should be on your paper. Right? These, again, I want to just make sure because this is like super critical. This right here, the negative h and h, you should look at those and be able to say that just means they're what? Opposites of each other. You agree with that? So in the formula, right, they're opposite. All right? All right, here we go. Let's continue on. Now, again, 9 and 10 are really important. I really don't care about 11, but 9 and 10 are very important. All right, so you're just literally trying to find the point of intersection. You have a circle and a line. Now, the easiest thing to look at this is to say, what does y equal? X. That means wherever I see y, I can put what? X. So this is now just x squared plus x squared equals 25. Now, if you didn't pay attention to what I said, you just don't understand what I just did. Is everybody comfortable with me writing x squared plus x squared equals 25? Because x is the same as what? Y. Now it's just a matter of you solving this properly. So I have 2x squared equals 25. So x squared is equal to 25 over 2. Now, most of you are probably going to forget, but I hope at least one of you, right, when I take the square root, what do I need? We're doing the square root of both sides, right? So x is equal to something square root of 25 over 2. Now, what is that something I'm referring to? How many solutions are there when you have a quadratic? Plus or minus. Right? That's the biggest mistake you make. Again, it's called the fundamental theorem of algebra. You have an x squared. How many solutions are there going to be? 2. That's how you're supposed to remember that it's plus or minus. All right? Now, I want to work on rationalizing. So the first thing you would say is plus or minus, and then square root of 25 is what? 5 over radical 2, which is the same as plus or minus 5 radical 2 over 2. Do I agree with that? Rationalizing the denominator. Remember the mathematicians got together and said no square roots in the denominator. You have to rationalize the denominator. Now, the answers. All right? If the x is 5 radical 2 over 2, what's the y value? Thank you very much. 5 radical 2 over 2. How did I know that? Because y and x are equal. So your other option is negative 5 radical 2 over 2. Then the y value would be what? Negative 5 radical 2 over 2. That's very important. All right, anybody not sure about that? All right. Now let's look at this. All right, I want to help you with this one too. All right. What does y equal? That means wherever you see a y, I can put what? Okay, I want to give you about a minute. All right, let's see who can solve this. All right, I want you to replace y with x plus 2. All right, and then let's see what you can come up with. Come on. Oh, this is algebra now. Now let me refresh your memory. You can't just take the square root through addition and subtraction, so don't try to do that. All right? You're going to have to multiply x plus 4 squared out, and you're going to have to multiply When I sub y in here as x plus 2, what does that simplify to? X minus 1. Then you have to square x minus 1, combine like terms, set it equal to 0, factor it. I said I don't care about the earthquakes. So. All right, somebody tell me what x plus 4 squared is. Everybody should just be able to rattle that out. What is it? X squared
Plus
plus 8x
16.
plus 16. So I'm going to review with you how I knew that. X squared plus 8x plus 16. Now look up on the board, please, because again, you're going to be taking standardized tests soon, and I want to make sure we have all these bases covered. All right? You're just multiplying x plus 4 times x plus 4, correct? So the first term is simply x times x, which is what? X squared. Now remember, when you're squaring it, the middle of term always occurs twice. So it is just 4x and 4x, which makes what? Last year I taught you, though, to expand it, you can just go x times 4 times 2. All right? That's always the middle term. And then you square the 4, which is 16. All right? Now, we replace x plus 2, so you guys told me that was the same as y, not y, but x minus 1 squared, right? X minus 1 squared. So when you square that, you get what?
X squared minus 2x plus 1.
Yep. There you have it, guys. Now we have to do what? Combine like terms. All right, we combine like terms. What's x squared and x squared? 2x squared. And then 8x minus 2x plus 6x. Now I have 16 plus 1, which is minus 25. Negative 8. Minus 8 equals 0. Does anybody have any questions with that? Anybody have any questions? All right, so now what can I do to solve that quadratic? Divide by 2. I'd rather, instead of factoring out of 2, because it's not a variable, we're dividing by 2. So that becomes x squared plus 3x minus 4 equals 0. Everybody see that? And now we can factor.
X plus 4, x minus 1.
Beautiful. X plus 4, x minus 1. And so x is equal to negative 4, or x is equal to what? 1. So now we need the solution. So negative 4, comma?
2, negative 2.
Negative 4, comma? Negative 2, right? Now how is he getting that? Because look at what I highlighted here. Y is whatever x is plus 2. And so the other one is 1 comma 3. 1 comma 3. Everybody okay with that? Now look, just real quickly, because I want to get to the other good stuff. If I plug negative 4 in, look up please. If I plug negative 4 in, what is this? 0. If I plug negative 2 in here, what's this? Think for yourself.
25.
Negative 2 minus 3 is not, what is that? Negative 5. And negative 5 squared is, so that one works. Come on now, you can check your answers really easily. Over here, plug 1 and 3 in. 1 plus 4. And then, there you have it. Right, does everybody see what I'm getting at? All right, you can check your work on that. That's not that hard. But look right here, guys. Hey, look, if you can do that, you're in really good shape. All right, there's a lot to remember there. You had to factor, you had to square binomial, Data combine terms, set it equal to 0, all kinds of things. That is very important, right? Very important. Make sure you look at that right now and say you're okay. Maybe you didn't know how, or maybe you forgot a few things, but now it's all coming back. That's very important. All right? Very important. Like I said, if you understand that, I'm good with you in high school. You're going to be fine. All right? Some of you guys who are struggling here, you got to speak up and let me help you review. All right. Now let's get to the fun problems. All right. Here we go. Yes. All right. All of the SAT type questions. Here we go. Number 1. Did anybody get number 1? Tell me, Walker. I got a C so far. Anybody else? Now look, what I'm going to do now, what I want to do now is we're going to practice our mental math, and we're also going to teach you more about how to take a standardized test. My advice to you, even if you don't know, or if you just know one thing but you couldn't figure out something else. All right? It says the center is what? 0, 4. So if you know what the equation is, then you should be able to say that it's going to be x squared plus y minus 4 squared equals r squared. Is everybody happy with that? Now, when you do that, now let's cross out. Which ones can I cross out? You can cross out B and D just by knowing that. And now you got a 50-50 shot. All right? Now, if I were taking a test, all right, why would I absolutely say the answer is A? Because it's r squared. All right, because it's r squared. So that's why I think the answer is A for all you guys who thought the answer was C. All right, for those of you guys who didn't say an answer but now tell me you got it right, that doesn't count. All right, you can't tell me it's right after the fact. You got it right. Speak up first. Because all those people who picked C are what? Wrong. Because, or I think they're wrong, because 5/3 is not squared. 5/3 needs to be squared, I think. All right, so let's figure that out. So why do you think they gave you this 0.4 comma 5? You got to plug it in. All right, now please, if you're using a calculator, stop with the calculator and make sure you understand this. Your mental math is super important for me. All right, I don't want someone saying, well, what's 4/3 squared? And you're like, what are you talking about, 4/3 squared? 4/3 squared is what? 16 ninths plus. Now we're plugging in what? 5. 5 minus 4. 1 squared is 1. All right, now come on. You don't need a calculator for that. 1 is how many ninths? 9. So 16 ninths plus 9 ninths is what? 25 ninths equals r squared. Do I care what r is? No, I care what r squared is. All right, now again, remember what I told you guys. These are on the test, okay? You got to be ready. All right, make sure you're understanding. If you're not understanding, you got to speak up. All right? Did we do number 2 already? Yes. All right, let's talk about number 3. Very good problem here. In the figure above, point O is the center of the circle. Line segments LM and MN are tangent to the circle at points L and N respectively, and the segments intersect at point M as shown. If the circumference of the circle is 96, what is the length of minor arc LN? You are all responsible for that question. What is it? 16. Brilliant. 63. Brilliant. 32. Brilliant. 16. Brilliant. Come on. What? You sure it's 32? You were kind of sure on the last one, too. You sure on this one? I'm going to let you redeem yourself. Why don't you explain it? Go.
So I did 60. I kind of forgot how oh yeah, 60 times 2 to get O.
Why is that?
Because I think the one was
Shh.
this.
You don't have to show me. Tell me.
The M times 2 gets you that part of the equation.
How do you know?
I just remember
That's not the rule.
No.
What's the rule?
You like
Wow, yeah, okay, I kind of like cutting in half, but that's not even necessary. What's the rule?
isn't it those two angles together into one?
Yes, but that was for an inscribed quadrilateral. This is not inscribed. All right, come on now. What?
I got it. So, why did I? So, LOM, it's two right triangles. So
How do I know they're right triangles? You're correct. Finally. Yes, that is correct. That is correct. So listen to me. Hey, come on. Listen, I think these are important. I want your attention. I don't want to be interrupted. All right, and I want you to be able to talk to me about the problems. This right here, anytime you draw a radius to a point of tangency, it creates a 90-degree angle. All right, so your observations of what you thought were true, all right, it's okay even if it was wrong, you still got the right answer. All right, but that's technically what we're talking about right here. All right, so now, is it really necessary for me to draw two triangles?
No.
No, because the angles of a quadrilateral always add up to what? The angles of a quadrilateral always add up to 360. We have how many parts of that so far? 90 and 90 makes what? 180. Therefore, the other two angles must also add up to what? 180. So that means LON is how many degrees?
120.
120 degrees, which means that arc is what?
32.
A third of the what, Walker?
96.
That's called a circle, yes. All right, a third of the circumference. And what's a third of 96?
32.
So those of you guys who said 32, kind of pat yourself on the back. It's a good job. All right, good thinking, good thinking. This is the kind of stuff you're going to have to be responsible for on Thursday, so you better be with me.
Why is it?
Because 120 is 1/3 of 360. True? Do you understand that, right? 120 degrees out of 360 degrees reduces to 1/3. Is that a question or are you good? You sound good. All right, here we go. Let's look at question number 4. In the circle above, segment AB is the diameter. If the length of arc ADB is 8 pi, what is the length of radius of the circle?
I got eight.
I got 8.
So far I've got an 8. So far I've got a 4.
Oh wait, radius.
16, thank you. Very good. Let's just go ahead. Anybody want to say 2 just to cover all the bases here?
Two.
Yeah, very good. I'm sure you're going to do well on the test.
Oh.
All right.
No idea.
So here we go. ADB. Let's just talk like this. ADB is how much? So that means the whole thing's probably what?
360.
No.
116.
The whole thing is
Oh,
what?
wait, I did get it right.
16 pi. So the circumference is 16 pi, which makes the diameter what?
I mean,
What are you guys
16.
doing?
Oh, divided by.
The diameter is 16. All right? They're asking for the radius. So the radius is 8. It'd be nice to get one of these right.
Oh, I did it like the area.
Yeah, good thinking. Specifically talking about the radius, you're doing area. Okay, here we go. Number 5.
67.
It says, in the figure above, the circle has center O and has a radius of 10. So whenever they do that, I'm going to go ahead and put 10 in. If the length of the arc is between 5 and 6, this is between 5 and 6. What is one possible integer value of x?
3.
3.
Yes.
I'm not saying you're right. I'm not saying you're right.
67. 34.
All right. So again, remember, guys, if the circumference or if the radius is what? 10, the circumference would be what? Would be 20 pi. You agree with that?
Oh.
The circumference would be 20 pi. Right? Now, we want this length to be either somewhere between 5 and 6. Do you agree with that? All right. Now, for me personally, it might be easy just to say, like I just put 5.5. All right. So I said the arc is 5.5 is equal to the circumference times n over 360. Come on, guys. I don't think that's that hard. So now this one kind of required a calculator. So you're going to do 5.5 divided by 20 divided by pi times 360. Now again, don't take my word for it. I don't want you just writing the number down. Get out your calculator, start plugging the numbers into your calculator, and see if you're following along. All right? I don't want just writing down answers. What does it say? 31.5, so we would say then 32, right? Yeah, you can say 31 or 32, I'm sure. 34 is a possibility.
Okay.
Now, if you really want to tell me what it could be, it says it's between 5 and 6, so you could put this down. You could set it equal to 5, and then set it equal to 6, and then pick any number between those. All right? Now, look, some of you are learning how to use your calculator. I'm serious about when I say do this on your calculator. Now, you would do, I said, 5.5 divided by, now you either need a parentheses here. If you don't do the parentheses, it's going to be wrong unless you do 5.5 divided by 20 divided by pi times 360. All right, double check. And then you're just rounding it to the nearest integer. 31, 32, 33, 34. I think it could have been anything between those. Does anybody have any questions with that? That's a really good question. Really good. What?
Why do you do the
Yeah, that's the arc. Because it's a fractional part of the circumference. The arc is a fractional part of the circumference. What?
I think I'm doing it wrong. I'm getting 300.
Well, it's definitely not 311 degrees.
Divided by 20, enter, divided by pi.
Yeah, you're not listening to me. Shh. Yes. Let her go. I already said you have to put parentheses around divided by 20 pi, or you can hit divided by 20 divided by pi for those of you guys who are listening. All right, let's take a look now at number 6. All right, I don't think this one was hard.
9.
Come on now. And remember what I told you. Just because you can't do one of the others doesn't mean you can't do someone further down the line. Correct answer here had to be what?
9.
Yes, A. Now look, if you didn't do that one, you just flat out didn't try the problems. All right, does anybody have any questions? All right, here we go. Let's take a look at number 7. Oh, number 7 is a really good problem. Walker, you think you know?
Yeah.
You gonna get this one right this time?
Yeah.
All right, what do you think?
D.
D. I got an A. Somebody else? D. What did you get? B. Good. I like B. What else? D. Good. More D's. Seems like I'm hearing more D's, but I'm not sure if that's right. Anybody else before we talk? Okay, so the first thing I want to do, I'm sure you've done a little bit of this. It says the wheel is rolling on the ground at a what? At a constant rate. So it can't be what? The speed at which the wheel is rolling. Is that us?
Yeah.
Okay, so it can't be A because the speed is constant, right? It can't have fluctuation. Listen, this is a really good problem. The answer is D, and we'll stop there. But listen, guys, I want you to get the rest of these problems done. All right? You do them all?
Wait, no, I only did 12.
All the way up to 21. That's your job. All right? Hey, hopefully that was a good day today. I felt pretty good about it.
Oh, yes, we don't have the